Hey, look, he's here again. Several gazes were cast from the basketball court, filled with excitement and curiosity, openly sizing me up without any attempt to hide it. He must have a crush on you. They burst into laughter and winked at the boy who was unscrewing the bottle cap. They jostled and made a ruckus. The boy glanced over casually and then tilted his head back to drink water. Beads of sweat slowly rolled down his bobbing Adam's apple and into the hollow of his collarbone. I swallowed hard and clenched the seam of my suit pants. It's so hot, in this kind of weather. Wearing a suit and tie with a slicked-back hairstyle to watch a game at the university is really out of place. But there's no way. I have to go back to the company for a meeting in an hour. A few days ago, my assistant regretfully told me that all the rich Omega seeking a sperm donor with high reward flyers we had people distribute had been removed. The relevant people were even called in for a talk. Helplessly, I had to abandon this method that seemed so much like a scam and infiltrate the group of poor college students myself. The boy had already averted his gaze, said nothing, and turned back to the game. He knew I was looking at him. He also knew I had come for him. There were faint traces of pheromones floating in the air, and it was easy to catch the one that belonged to him. A lighty scent, with a bitter aftertaste that turned sweet. It's the type I like. I like his face and his figure too. I did a little investigation. He has excellent grades, good physical endurance, and a clean romantic history. With such genes, the children he fathers should be pretty good too. Amidst a few hisses, I came back to my senses and saw the ball rolling to my feet. They started to make a ruckus again, egging that boy on to come over and pick up the ball. He really came. The swaying ends of his hair were so cute when he ran. The boy bent down in front of me to pick up the ball, spun it skillfully, and raised his eyebrows slightly. "Uncle, what's up? How dare he call me uncle? That's too much. I'm only 3 years older than you." "Oh, I thought he'd call me brother." But after saying "oh," he said nothing more. After 2 seconds of awkward silence, he took a step back and turned around. I quickly called out to him, "Leo, after the game, can you spare me a few minutes?" He looked back, holding the ball and looking at me without saying a word. I pursed my lips. "I'd like to discuss a deal with you. Actually, it's a bit embarrassing to talk about this deal. Put more elegantly, I'll pay and you'll contribute, so that there'll be one more little baby in the world. To put it bluntly and crudely, it means hiring you to sleep with me without protection for a few nights. There's really no other way." The old man has given a final order. Among the 3 brothers, whoever gives birth to an heir first will get all the inheritance. All of it. All that can turn the whole city upside down. I understand the old man's good intentions. The 3 of us top Omegas are only focused on starting careers and have no intention of getting married at all. It really worried the old man. Big Brother entrusted professional matchmakers to find suitable marriage partners of equal status. Second elder brother spent a fortune to screen the most compatible. Something in that database. As for me, I don't have much of a moral sense and don't plan to spend a lot of money on this. I just want to take a shortcut and give birth to the heir the old man wants as soon as possible. Per college students are just fine. Poor and strong. It'll probably only take a few nights to succeed. In the end, just give them a little money to send them away, and they'll think they've made a fortune. After calculating, I found that my heat period will be next week without accident. It's really a stroke of luck. When Leo saw me stammering and unable to speak, he gave a soft laugh. "Such an embarrassing deal. Do I look like I'm short of money?" I immediately felt a bit deflated. This poor student seems to have quite a lot of principles and self-esteem. Watching his departing back, I scratched the back of my hand, feeling a bit annoyed. After struggling for a while, I silently raised the budget from 10,000 yuan to 100,000 yuan. Leo made a 3-point shot. All right, 200,000. Leo made a beautiful steal. Or maybe 500,000. I know that in this state, I could lose everything at the negotiation table. But after meeting Leo, I really can't take a fancy to anyone else. The first time I met him was in the cafeteria. I secretly observed who was eating poorly. People were coming and going. I don't know who bumped into me, and I was suddenly pulled into Leo's arms. "Be careful. His voice was very pleasant. When I looked up, he was incredibly handsome. Looking at his plate again, there was only a little green vegetable. Not even any rice. He should be very poor. The people around him joked with a smile. Patrolling the cafeteria in a suit? Either selling insurance or cleaning agents. It can't be a domineering CEO. I turned the Patek Philippe on my wrist and thought that there were too few luxury advertisements. People simply didn't recognize it. It was no fun wearing it. Leo's gaze fixed on my wrist for a while, then silently shifted to my face. After a moment, he curled up a faint smile. He recognized it. It means he has a yearning for money. It's him. At that time, I had almost made up my mind. When I secretly increased the money to 1 million. The secretary called. All the participants have arrived. Only I'm missing. I reluctantly stood up and took a last look at Leo. He jumped up in front of the 3-man defense. And the ball drew a perfect parabola. It went in, and the net hardly moved. Well, how about 1,500,000? I shuffled to the door when a gust of wind swept past my ears. The orange ball flew into my sight, grazing the end of my hair. And with a loud bang, it hit the guardrail net in front of me. I was really startled. I turned around, and Leo was walking towards me. What's going on with this ball? Why does it always aim at me? I patted my chest lingeringly in fear and heard him ask softly. Not doing business anymore? Boss. He pronounced the word boss in an especially lingering and cadenced way. I was stunned for a moment and instantly blushed. He doesn't know anything yet, but he's already calling me boss. I wonder if he'll beat me up when he knows what I want to buy later. Leo walked to my side, leaned over and whispered into my ear word by word in a voice only the two of us could hear. Not buying me? Boom. Fireworks exploded in my brain. He knows what I want. I was nervous and flustered. I didn't dare to look at him. And my speech stammered. How do you know? Leo let out a snort of laughter. Your eyes have undressed me 800 times already. I immediately picked up my phone to check. Nonsense. My eyes were clearly innocent. Let's go. Looking up, I saw that he had already walked several steps forward. Where are we going? He didn't stop walking. Let you check the goods. Although I was worried about the meeting in my mind, my body honestly followed closely behind. Come on. It's about checking the goods. Is he going to let me smell his pheromones or show me his muscles? I didn't expect that he directly took me to the bathroom. Slowly and methodically, he took off all his clothes. My secretary was frantically calling me on the phone. I ignored it and stood there stupidly, motionless. I've lived this long and seen quite a few alphas, but I've never seen a naked alpha. While I was in a daze, Leo had already turned on the shower and started washing himself. Why did he start taking a shower? As if seeing through my confusion, he explained, I'm sweaty. He's quite polite. However, for an omega like me who has been abstinent for over 20 years, this kind of politeness is a bit of an ordeal. I tried to restrain myself from looking around, but I still couldn't help it. My gaze climbed from his ankles, bit by bit, up his calves and thighs. So big? I quickly looked up again. Suddenly, I met Leo's deep eyes and was instantly speechless. He calmly stood still in front of me. He was too close. The heat from his body made my head spin. 2 million is okay too, I thought. Amid the fragrance of the shower gel, another smell gradually grew stronger. It was his pheromone, which I had liked the first time I smelled it. It wasn't particularly high class or amazing, but it had a sense of familiarity like something from a bygone era, which inexplicably made me feel at ease. Let me smell yours. As he said that, he leaned in, giving me a loose embrace with our necks close. Feeling his breath on my gland, I tensed up all over. I didn't have time to wonder why a gigolo was making demands on the customer. All I could think about was, oh no, I'm about to release my pheromones in front of an alpha. It's the same as soliciting sex. Then I thought, I came here for sex anyway. I carefully released a little bit and immediately stopped. The breath on my skin got closer. Too little. I released a tiny bit more. Come on. Leo raised his hand, and his warm fingertips pressed against my gland. Slowly rubbing it. It's free to smell. Be more generous. Boss. A sour and swollen sensation exploded at the back of my neck. This time, I couldn't hold it back, and a large amount of pheromones suddenly gushed out. The small bathroom cubicle was quickly filled with the intertwined sense of him and me, and the temperature kept rising. Leo smiled and stood up straight. "It's kind of sour." He commented like this. "It's the smell of yogurt." Hearing that he didn't seem very interested, I suddenly felt a bit awkward. "Don't you like it?" "I don't like to drink it. It has too much sugar." Before I had time to feel disappointed, he added, "But as a pheromone, it smells quite nice." My mood kept fluctuating. My reason desperately tugged at my lust-addled heart. I'm the customer. I have to be tough and not be led around by his words. "Oh, yours is also." I paused and put on an air. "Just so." He laughed again, looking lazy and flirtatious, but not annoying at all. Then, "Mr. Andrew, how long are you going to keep someone like this so me?" How did he know who I was? Just as I was about to ask, my phone suddenly rang. It was the exclusive ringtone of second elder brother. "Andrew, how much longer do you want everyone to wait? Rush back to the company. There are still dark water stains on the gray suit." When second elder brother leaned against the door outside the meeting room and saw me rushing in a hurry, he frowned coldly. "Alas, it seems I have to get scolded before the meeting." Halfway through scolding me, he suddenly changed the subject and covered his nose. "What's that smell? Where did you go fooling around?" I lowered my head and sniffed. The pheromone of Leo still remained on me. It was very strong and showed no sign of weakening. "Not fooling around yet." Second elder brother was stunned for a moment. When he realized what I meant, his tone was tinged with sarcasm. "I'm convinced. You're even more outrageous than Big Brother. I shrugged indifferently. Outrageous but effective. Highly efficient. No matter how efficient it is. Let me be under a strange man. Kill me. It's absolutely impossible in this lifetime. And also impossible in the next life. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw second elder brother's dark-skinned bodyguard move slightly, and his hand hanging by his side was tightly clenched. I glanced at him. He was staring at second elder brother with a dark look in his eyes. And second elder brother was completely unaware and still scoffed at my behavior of looking for a strange man. So I swallowed back the words I originally wanted to retort with. "It's interesting." The meeting lasted until evening. After the shareholders left, I slumped in the office chair and tiredly rubbed the space between my eyebrows. I leaned back and closed my eyes to rest for a while. Then I took out my phone. Leo, whom I had added in a hurry, didn't send any messages. I clicked into his moments, and there was only a horizontal line. He actually won't let me view his moments. I can only click on his profile picture and background and study them hundreds of times. When I went back, there was a little red dot in the message box. "Male and older, I'm done with class." I don't understand. Why is he reporting this to me? After thinking about it, I replied, "I'm done with the meeting." He replied quickly, "Okay. Do you choose or shall I?" "The hotel." I stared at the chat box for a full minute, struggling to digest these two words. Countless flames sprang up inside me, making my blood boil. Isn't the progress a bit too fast? I thought we'd play hard to get until next week. Actually, I'm not mentally prepared yet. I held my phone and spun around in the chair a few times. In a daze, I used my foot to stop the chair. Wait, how is he so experienced? He didn't hesitate at all. Just accepted it directly, not even asking about the price. After much deliberation, I cautiously asked, "Leo, have you done this before?" If his answer is yes, then even if I like him, I'll have to find someone else. Don't worry, I'm cleaner than that white jade Pichio in front of your house. There is a fortune attracting Pichio placed at the entrance of the Jiang family old mansion. The old man is superstitious and has a special person wipe it carefully with a silk handkerchief every day, so it's spotless. Leo knows such details, which means he has also investigated me. My background, financial situation, social circle. While I was silently observing him, he was also observing me. I'm not resistant to people who come prepared. Instead, it saves me the trouble of self-introduction. But when I got up and walked out of the meeting room, I still asked my secretary to redraft the contract. I added some clauses to prevent future disputes. The hotel was booked by Leo, probably considering my status. He booked a very high-class one. When I arrived, he was wearing a bathrobe and concentrating on his laptop. When he saw me coming, his expression remained calm. There's still a small part of my work left. I have to submit it tonight. He was so calm that I didn't know what to do. I sat on the sofa for a while, walked around a few steps, then sat on the bed. I felt a bit strange and stood up again. I'll take a shower first. As soon as the words left my mouth, my face flushed. It was an unspoken hint, the clarion call for an adult's physical conquest. Leo looked up, and the light from the laptop screen was reflected in his clear eyes. Okay. The rising intonation at the end made it sound like he was in a good mood. When I got into the bathroom, my heart was still pounding. Over the years, there have been alphas around me, but I've always been focused on staying at the top of the city rich list and had no time for love. Moreover, I don't take a fancy to the low-level ones. As for those of the same top level, they are either promiscuous or arrogant. Leo's rating should be quite high. I wonder which type he belongs to. It doesn't matter. Spending money just to save trouble. I really can't agree with Big Brother's approach of staking his future and half of his fortune. Second elder brother is also stupid. He has to take injections, pills, and have regular physiological checks. How painful it is. I put down the hairdryer, stared at myself in the mirror, took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. Well, so my choice is the best. A summary and also self-encouragement. I'll have to go through this sooner or later. Just consider it a trial tonight. If he's no good, there's still time to replace him. I opened the door. Leo had already put away his computer and was reclining on the sofa with his knees bent, idly swiping his phone. Hearing the door open, he turned his head and looked over, with an undisguised look of amazement on his raised eyebrows. I awkwardly tightened my bathrobe and walked over slowly. Your hair. He paused. It looks better down. Oh, so it means the slicked back hairstyle looks ugly. Remembering his teasing uncle, I unconsciously reached up to touch the ends of my hair, feeling a bit annoyed. I spent half an hour on it this morning. However, Big Brother also gently reminded me that a too mature look didn't suit me well. But it makes me look more like a domineering CEO. Leo pursed his lips and smiled. Mr. Andrew, you already are one. You don't need to look like one. The small talk is over. What should I say next? Oh, the contract. I buried my head in my bag and rummaged around. Suddenly, Leo stood beside me. Wait a minute. Don't be in such a hurry. Mr. Andrew, do you have a big appetite? I stopped what I was doing and looked at him blankly. In a split second, I understood what he meant and quickly averted my gaze in embarrassment. Well, I'm not sure. I've never done it before, so how would I know if I have a big appetite in that regard? Anyway, I don't usually have strong desires. Leo was taken aback for a moment, looking a bit confused, but still nodded and continued. I've been hungry for a while and want to eat more. No problem. I can handle it. If he wants to eat more, then so be it. I have relatively strong core strength in my waist and abdomen, so I should be able to endure it. Where should we start eating? It seems that in those movies, TV shows, and books, they always start by sucking on the chest. Leo opened the door, and the hotel waiter loudly announced, "Room service." The food cart was pushed into the room, filling up the entire coffee table. Damn it. I shamefully retied the half-unfastened bathrobe and got under the quilt. I'm too embarrassed to face anyone for the moment. I could hear Leo trying to hold back his laughter even through the quilt. Sorry, Mr. Andrew. I didn't have dinner and I'm really hungry. He patted the bulging quilt. Do you want to have some? After all, if you don't eat enough, can't do it if you're not full. Right? Afraid of misunderstanding again. I kept my mouth shut and said nothing. Leo leaned over and chuckled through the quilt. If you get hungry halfway, I won't have time to call room service. Then I'll have to feed you something else. The food from the hotel's catering department is unexpectedly good. After I finished 2 shrimp dumplings, I picked up a piece of crispy cake and was concentrating on eating most of it. Suddenly, I realized that Leo had stopped his actions at some point and was staring at me intently. I unconsciously slowed down my chewing and swallowed with a gulp. Is there something on my face? On the corner of your mouth. This cake crumbles. Sure enough, there are some crumbs on it. I raised the back of my hand to wipe it. Thinking this action was a bit indecent, I got up to reach for the tissues beside Leo. Before I could pull out a single tissue, my wrist was grabbed. With a gentle tug, I fell into his arms without any defense. Face to face. We were very close. I wriggled uneasily, but he pressed my waist instead. Now I'm sitting firmly on his lap. It's firm and a bit hard. Mr. Andrew, since you've kept me... He pinched my chin, tilted his head closer. Why do you still do this kind of thing yourself? The remaining half of the crispy cake fell on the carpet, and no one bothered to pick it up. I stared blankly, thinking that it turns out Leo likes to start from the mouth. The tip of his tongue licked the corner of my lips, traced it carefully, and then gently but forcefully squeezed into my lips and teeth. The osmanthus flavor of the pastry intertwined with his faint tea fragrance, and I swallowed it all. After the long and lingering kiss ended, I lay on his shoulder gasping for breath. The hand that was originally on my back slowly moved up along my spine and finally stopped on my gland. Can I bite? My mind was in a daze, and it was a bit difficult to think. Bite? Is it marking? This doesn't seem to be of much help for carrying a baby. And I've heard that marking is quite painful, so I shook my head. No. The fingers that were circling on my gland paused for a moment and then slowly moved away. Okay. Suddenly, my body felt light, and I was picked up by Leo holding my thighs. The already loose bathrobe completely fell apart when he put me on the bed. The bathrobe was open, but I still felt a bit shy. Subconsciously, I reached out to cover myself, but he grabbed my hand and pressed it against the mattress. Leo looked down at me with a hot and straightforward gaze. With each inch his gaze moved downward. His eyes grew darker. Finally, it settled on my lower body, and he curved his lips. Can we use the ones from the hotel? I didn't buy any. Didn't buy what? Seeing him reach for the small box on the cabinet, I suddenly came to my senses. We haven't signed the contract yet. I retied my bathrobe, took out the contract, and handed it to him. The corners of Leo's lips, which were originally curved in a smile, slowly flattened. It's not about keeping you as a lover. You simply want a child. I felt inexplicably guilty and replied, yes. He flipped through the contract loudly, frowning tightly. Once pregnancy is confirmed, it's a deal. The Alpha Party shall not approach, contact, or disturb the Omega Party's subsequent life for any reason. I nodded. And you can't reveal that you're the child's biological father either. These conditions are good for both parties. There's no reason for him not to accept them. But looking at Leo's sinking face, I suddenly felt uncertain. What's going on? He doesn't seem very happy. Mr. Andrew. A child can't be healthily conceived and born without the soothing of an alpha's pheromones. He doesn't have to worry about this. The Jiang family built an Omega soothing center for my 3 brothers and me, with professionals to prepare pheromones. Artificially produced alpha pheromones can help us get through the heat period comfortably. So they must also help me get through pregnancy. Speaking of which, the one I use most often is a bit like Leo's. Leo was silent for a moment and then said, from now on, you'll carry my permanent mark. Don't worry, I've thought it all through. I said with a grin, I'll get your mark removed after I inherit the estate. The technology is quite mature now and won't harm my body. Leo fell completely silent. Any other questions? I was a bit impatient and didn't understand what he was still worried about. After thinking about it, I decided to simply use money to dispel his concerns. If there are no surprises, I'll be in heat next week. If you can get me pregnant within 3 days, I'll give you 3 million. Is that enough? Leo looked up at me and said nothing. To be honest, 3 million is even more than what second elder brother spent. If he doesn't accept it, then I'll have to. How about 5 million? Is that enough? Leo shook his head. I never expected him to be so greedy. What should I do? I've already kissed him and he's seen me naked. I hate myself for being so lust-driven and defenseless. How much do you want? My expression probably looked really interesting. Suddenly, Leo laughed. Mr. Andrew, do you think I'm worth that much in your eyes? Fine, fine. He's just being coy. I'm not a pushover either. If you're not willing, I can find someone else. Ha! He grabbed me as I was about to stand up. I didn't say I'm not willing. Then what do you mean? It doesn't take 3 days. A smile curved Leo's lips. 1 night is enough. As expected of the alpha I've taken a fancy to. So strong and confident. However, he looked through the contract over and over again, and finally pointed to a certain line. Typo. What's wrong with this secretary? So I can't sign it today. I'll have someone print a new copy right away. No rush. I can fulfill my obligations first. Leo said that it would be very dangerous for an Omega to get pregnant rashly without sufficient preparation. This is beyond my knowledge. I couldn't help but worry and asked, how dangerous is it? He stared at me, pursed his lips, and said unhurriedly, there may be tearing, massive bleeding, muscle spasms and convulsions. It sounds so painful. I'm most afraid of pain. What preparations do I need to make? Leo had a dark and unfathomable look in his eyes. Let your body slowly get used to me. We have to meet every day before the heat period. I have a very busy schedule. Every time I went to observe him before, I had to squeeze time in between my other tasks. Leo said it didn't matter and he could come to me. When he came to my company the next day, I had just finished dealing with the morning's affairs. He glanced at the untouched food box on the tea table and frowned slightly. It's already 1 o'clock. Haven't you eaten yet? I took a sip of coffee. I'm full from being busy. Moreover, the bento was already cold and I didn't want to eat it. Leo didn't say anything and lowered his head to send a few messages. Then he put away his phone and locked the door from the inside. So direct? I nervously swallowed another mouthful of coffee. On the sofa or the office chair? There's a lounge inside. Leo made me feel a bit awkward. After trying to dodge his hand for the 3rd time, he withdrew silently. I was forced to hold his middle finger with one hand, and the other hand was led to touch his lower body. Compare it yourself. You can't even stand one finger. What can you stand then? I stopped dodging. Actually, it wasn't that uncomfortable. It's just that I felt my body had become a bit strange. Leo showed me with actions that my body could become even more strange. I didn't dare to look at the dark stain on his leg. I averted my eyes and said, try on which pair of pants in the wardrobe fits you and change into them. Okay. He didn't seem to care. You take a shower first. I took a shower slowly. When I came out, there were a lot of food on the table. The logo on the bag was from the hotel last night. I buttoned up my clothes and suddenly remembered something. How much was the hotel bill last night? I'll transfer the money to you. No need. I had a coupon. I sat down at ease. I took a bite and looked up. Immediately, I couldn't feel at ease anymore. Why didn't you change your pants? There was no suitable one. I immediately took out my phone. Send me your size. I'll ask my assistant to buy some. He pressed my hand down. It's not obvious. Others won't notice. It's not about whether it's obvious or not. My eyes unconsciously fell on his well-defined hands. My face became hot again. It was a sign. A silent notice. It's a blatant reminder of how I begged for mercy and lost my composure just now. Mr. Andrew? Leo raised his eyebrows and smiled. Are you reminiscing? Just as I was about to make an excuse, there was a knock on the door. Andrew. I'm coming in. It was Big Brother. I immediately stood up. There's a problem with the cooperation we've been promoting. Come and confirm it with me. Big Brother never wasted words on useless things. When he saw me, he got straight to work. It wasn't until everything was confirmed that he noticed there was another person in the office. You are. Seeing him frown slightly, I felt guilty. I could retort to second elder brother without batting an eyelid. But I couldn't do the same to Big Brother. I was instinctively afraid of him. Afraid that he would scold me for being reckless. I preemptively changed the subject. Big Brother. How's it going for you recently? He composed his expression and said unhappily, You don't need to worry about it. Actually, I had already inquired about it. After the news of the arranged marriage was released, all the well-matched families were afraid of his reputation as a cold-faced hell king. They all pretended not to know, not to understand, not to see, and that it was inappropriate. The only one who responded was an old classmate who he had been on good terms with in the early years but later drifted apart from. The classmate came all the way back from abroad just to mock him in person. So, there was no progress at all. Hee. Without any surprise, all the family property will be mine, and I'll also be the number one on the rich list. It has become a common thing to be intimate with Leo. Either he comes to the company to find me, or we meet at the hotel. The daily meeting routine is, take out the contract. He finds faults. I scold the secretary, throw the contract aside, and then start undressing. Finally, exhausted, I nestle in his arms, chatting and then closing my eyes to sleep. My parents taught me to be independent since childhood. I've slept alone since I could walk. Now, having someone lying beside me, I unexpectedly adapt to it. Maybe it's because he is a poor college student, innocent and easy to handle. Or maybe it's because his pheromones make me feel very at ease. Gradually, I not only calmly accept the reactions of my body, but also the number of fingers I can accept has increased to 3. I'm really amazing, but the fever period hasn't come yet. Fortunately, the marriage partner for Big Brother is not determined yet, and second elder brother's artificial plan seems to have stopped. This matter has become less urgent. I was handling some business near Leo's school this afternoon, thinking that I hadn't seen him play basketball for several days. I started to feel itchy. Before I realized it, I had unconsciously walked on the familiar path. Are you at the stadium? He quickly replied, I'm having a class. Miscalculation. But since I'm already here, I might as well sit down and watch. These people seem like a group of monkeys. Have they fully evolved? How can they play basketball like this? Did they score a goal? Why are they cheering? I persevered for a while, thinking that Leo should step down, and was about to get up and leave. Hello, classmate. Suddenly, someone sat down at the other end of the bench. I looked around. There was no one else around, so I pointed at myself. Are you calling me? He grinned and said, You're quite cute. I haven't slicked my hair back recently. Just now. I took off my suit jacket and tie after getting off the car. So, I've changed from an uncle to a cute classmate? I've seen you sitting here watching for a long time. Do you like it? I really do like basketball. My childhood dream was to hold the O'Brien Championship trophy. Later, as I grew up, I realized that some dreams are destined to remain just dreams. But, at least let me win once. I've never won in front of Big Brother and second elder brother. Which one do you like? I was stunned for a moment. What was he asking? Which basketball star did I like? Before I could say a word, I heard him continue. Are you shy? Didn't you come to see me? I naively thought he understood me. No. I shook my head. I'm here to promote insurance and cleaning agents. What kind of cleaning agent? Can I use it? You. Yes. Suddenly, he leaned in, smiling and lowering his voice. Right now, I'm having some dirty thoughts. Did you put oil on your feet? How did you slip all the way from the other end to here in a flash? I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable. I think I need some cleaning agent to wash my eyes and ears. Seeing me turn around to leave, he stubbornly followed up. Come on, tell me. Big Brother will take care of your business. Quicken my pace. Hey, I'm talking to you. In the end, he didn't catch up because Leo appeared in front of me and silently put his arm around me. The entanglement behind me instantly turned into whispered curses. I've met all kinds of alphas. Many of them think they're incredibly charming and get angry when they don't get the reaction they want. I wasn't very surprised at the moment. I lowered my head and unlocked my phone. Do you have any classes later? If so, go ahead and do your thing. I'll go back by myself. I walked a long way, but I never got a reply from Leo. I turned my head and saw his jawline tense. What's wrong? Leo pursed his lips and slowly said, I don't have any classes. Come to my dormitory. I was extremely glad that I was only wearing a shirt and wasn't stopped by the dormitory auntie. Are your roommates in? No. I'm so tired. How many more floors do we have to climb? We'll be there soon. He answered my questions, and his tone was normal. But looking at his back, I always felt something was off. I vaguely felt that he was in a bad mood. Someone on the stairs greeted him. Then their gaze shifted and landed on me. Suddenly, Leo stopped and took my hand without hesitation. I was a bit surprised, but there was something I was more concerned about. Why do they all call you young Master Sheng? Don't tell me you're bullying others in school by forming cliques. He gave a vague response and opened the door. Go take a shower. He was so eager to get to the point. I still wanted to chat for a while. I didn't bring any change of clothes. I'll do it tonight. I glanced around the dormitory. It's not convenient here either. Wear mine. He was so forceful and persistent. I was a bit unhappy. Who's the benefactor here? I don't want to right now. The two of us were at a standstill at the door. He calmly looked at me and asked, Then when do you want to? Does he think I only have this on my mind? Although that is the ultimate goal. During this short and predictable time together, we could actually leave each other some wonderful memories other than just the things in bed. I felt inexplicably irritated. Leave me alone. I bypassed him and sized up the layout of the dormitory. There were several posters pasted beside a bed. Just as I was about to get closer to take a look, my arm was firmly grasped. With a sudden tug, I was forced to meet his gaze. With whom? I was stunned. If not with me, then with whom? Who else but you? Leo tightened his lips. His deep eyes seemed to see through me. After a long while, he let go of me and spoke stiffly. Going to the stadium isn't to look for a new target. I was at a loss for words. Can't I just watch the game? He stared at me for a while longer before his tense expression relaxed a bit. Don't look for someone else. His voice was muffled. The anger in my heart immediately dissipated. I haven't looked for anyone. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Got it. There's nothing wrong for now. Let me take a bite. Leo looked at the side of my neck, and his Adam's apple rolled. There's the smell of another alpha on you. It makes me feel awful. Oh! It was left by that greasy man. Just now. He was showing off like a peacock, constantly releasing pheromones. Since my differentiation, I've been exposed to a lot of pheromones at the soothing center, which is like having countless cyber alpha partners. Unless it's a violent and malicious suppression, this kind of situation in daily life has very little impact. I don't care. But for a young alpha like Leo with no dating experience, his subconscious might have been severely provoked. As if the sky had fallen. Maybe I should take a shower. The hem of my shirt was tugged. Andrew, you've already let me in. Why won't you let me bite your gland? This brat even dares to call me by my full name. Actually, there's no special reason. I looked at him sincerely and said, I'm afraid of pain. Leo's eyes flickered. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. It'll be very gentle and over in a second. He really seemed to be in a lot of pain. All right then. As soon as I gave in, the next second, Leo pinned me firmly against the wall. You damned liar. I was in so much pain that tears welled up in my eyes. My mouth was tightly covered by him, and I couldn't utter a single curse, wail, or protest. I don't know how long it took, but the pain gradually subsided. The pheromones injected into the gland slowly spread in my body, bringing about a strange feeling. The tears stopped flowing, but another place started to get wet. What's going on? It's so strange. What the hell reaction is this? Is it like opening a sluice? I can't control it. I panicked and struggled desperately, but all my resistance became weak and ineffective. Leo moved his head a little away from my nape, but his breath became hotter and hotter. I cursed angrily. Leo, are you rebelling? Without saying a word, he pressed down on me again and took a hard suck on my gland. I became obedient. If I don't behave myself, I feel like my soul will be sucked out by him. He grabbed my chin, forcing me to tilt my head back and open my mouth, and I swallowed a deep kiss with a faint taste of blood. He seems to be a bit out of control, I thought in a panic. The hand on my waist fumbled to undo the buttons, and a deep, Hoarse voice whispered in my ear. Andrew, I'm going to get serious. What do you mean by getting serious? I widened my eyes instantly. I was completely awakened by the pain and desperately tried to dodge, but there was nowhere to escape. No. Didn't you say we'd wait until the fever period? Ow. Yes. He endured the slight tremor in his voice and firmly held my waist. You're too afraid of pain. I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it then. Yes, that's right. I gritted my teeth. Endure it, endure it. The first place on the rich list. I'm going to secure it. But I'm a pampered young master who grew up in luxury. It's too shabby to lose my virginity in a college dormitory in a hurry. I don't want to do it here. Let's go to a hotel. Leo didn't give me time to call a driver. He covered me with a long coat and hugged me downstairs. I got into the passenger seat and saw him take out the car keys and start the car skillfully. I slowly typed out a question mark in my mind. Your car. He evaded the question vaguely. Borrowed. Who would lend a Bugatti to a college student? Rented. I could understand why he followed me. The moneymaker. Without hesitation. I thought for a few seconds and assumed the posture of being 3 years older. Leo. It's normal for young people to be vain. But you should pay attention to the degree. Over-consuming is not a good habit. Ouch. Leo suddenly accelerated, pushing me back against the seat. Mr. Andrew. If you don't want a child to be born in the car, shut up. I not only shut my mouth but also squeezed my legs together. The car finally stopped in front of an apartment building. I looked around at the nearby buildings, a sense of doubt rising in my mind. Leo sized up my expression. It's my friend's place. No, it's a rented apartment of mine. As soon as we entered, 2 servants emerged and bent down to help us take off our shoes. He couldn't hold it back anymore. Actually, I have a small side business. I hesitated and stopped walking. What should I do? Leo didn't seem to be from an ordinary poverty-stricken family as the investigation report stated. On the contrary, he had some capital and perhaps some means. I choose poor college students not only because they are young and innocent but also because they are almost defenseless against me. If an alpha causes trouble out of ignorance, I can easily silence him with my class and power. After thinking for a while, I tentatively asked, Leo, do you like kids? Ha! He picked me up with one hand, pushed open the door, and said, Don't say such things that kill my mood now. It seems he doesn't like kids, and neither do I. But people can change their preferences for the sake of money. What if this child becomes very wealthy in the future, and just when you're short of money? I paused. I'm just saying hypothetically, what would you do? Would you fall out with me and fight for the child's custody? Andrew. Leo propped his hands on either side of me, blocking the light from above. I couldn't see his expression, but I could sense that he was being very serious. If I said that from the very beginning, I didn't even want the money, what would you think? Ha! I was confused. Then what do you want? Leo straightened up and quickly took off his clothes. I'll tell you later. Let's get down to business first. The matter was only half done. Big Brother called and simply said that the old man's condition wasn't good and asked me to go back right away. My mind went completely blank instantly. When I came to my senses, Leo had already dressed me. I'll take you there. All the way. I couldn't stop shaking. The chill was surging inside my body, and my blood had turned ice cold. It's true that I coveted his inheritance. And it's also true that I hoped he would live a long and healthy life. People are always like this. A contradiction between sensibility and rationality. It's like my instinct tells me to leave Leo, but my body unconsciously moves closer. The car stopped at the red light. Leo stared intently at the countdown of more than 50 seconds and suddenly unbuckled his seatbelt. I looked at him in confusion. He leaned in, but at the moment he was about to reach me, I barely managed to avoid him. Leo, I'm not in the mood right now. It's not what you think. My chin was gently pinched, and a light kiss landed on my lips, different from the passionate and intense kisses in the past that seemed to devour me. This one was cautious and extremely gentle. I was surrounded by his pheromones, perhaps because of the marking. The pheromones easily penetrated my skin and blended into my blood. It soothed the panic and fear in every cell. He was comforting me, like a qualified partner. Clearly, I'm not his omega. The red light turned green, and the cars behind honked to urge. Leo sat back in the driver's seat and drove off. I didn't tremble again until we reached the hospital. I imagined many tragic scenarios along the way. He might be haggard or pale and weak. Unexpectedly, as soon as I opened the door, I saw the old man with a rosy face flirting with the young nurse. Damn it, I was the last to arrive. Big brother and second elder brother nodded at me and left the ward one after another. Don't scare people for no reason. I sat down irritably and picked up an orange from the bedside table. The old man glanced at the back of my neck and then at my messy collar. The corners of his eyes crinkled with a big smile. I was so angry that I stuffed more than half of an orange into his mouth. He chewed while laughing. Finally, I can go to see your parents with peace of mind. My heart suddenly sank, and my expression froze on my face. I tried to find traces of joking on his face, but there were none. What nonsense. You look like you could pick them up and beat them right now. The old man just smiled and said nothing, chewing carefully. For a moment, the only sound in the ward was the sound of chewing. After swallowing the orange, he looked at me with deep reluctance in his eyes. I know my own body. It should be these days. The sunlight poured in from outside the window, making the whole room bright. Even his cloudy eyeballs lit up. It was like the sudden bright afterglow when the sun sets. I suddenly couldn't say a word. I just looked at him, unable to say anything. I'm just worried about you three. He let out a long sigh. I'm so worried. The year I first went through my secondary gender differentiation, my parents died in a tsunami. Many people in City A were eyeing the Jiang family covetously. 3 omegas who looked weak and unreliable. Anyone could bully. At that time, the old man, who had already started his retirement life, spending his days raising flowers and walking the birds, was forced to return to the battlefield. Wearing reading glasses, he led us to fight at the negotiation table. He is my grandfather and also my teacher. In a flash, so many years have passed. The oranges are all eaten up. My hands are empty. Grandfather started to drive me away, telling me to go back to work and go back to life. All right then. Please help me pass on a message, by the way. I looked down at the orange juice left on my fingernails for a while, clenched my fist, and then slowly loosened it. Finally, I showed a smiling face to the old man. Damn it, you two only know how to have fun. If you're swept away by the waves, can you still be happy? You've made grandfather and us go through so much trouble. I won't burn paper money for you next year. Unless you come to my dreams and plead with me. Bring grandfather to come and see me. When I went downstairs, big brother and second elder brother hadn't left yet. They were leaning against the car, chatting naturally with Leo. Seeing me, big brother stubbed out his cigarette and said, "Then we'll leave first." Second elder brother didn't say a word. He pulled up his collar and was helped into the car by the bodyguard. Is it an illusion? He looks very weak. Leo walked up to me and asked, "Where shall we go?" I subtly avoided his hand. A car slowly drove up at the corner and stopped beside us. The driver got out of the car and opened the door. I looked at him and calmly said, "We don't need to meet until you figure out how to explain it to me." 5 minutes ago, I heard the name Leo from my grandfather. He said that Leo was a nice guy. Indeed, he is nice if he didn't lie to me. Leo hung his hands by his sides and stood still on the spot. He gradually became smaller and smaller as he moved away until he disappeared from my sight. I was extremely tired. I forced myself to go back to the company to finish my work and then went home and fell asleep as soon as I hit the bed. In the middle of the night, a familiar yet strange heat woke me up. I let out a sigh with extreme tiredness. The postponed fever period finally came in full force. I was admitted to the soothing center overnight and curled up in pain. Maybe it was because my grandfather was dying. Or maybe it was because I had been through too much with Leo during this period. This fever period was particularly severe. The researcher put the pheromone into the pressurized oxygen chamber and waited for it to take effect as before. However, the once immediate effect was now like scratching an itch through a boot. I squirmed restlessly in the chamber and was soaked all over. It's very strange. Mr. Andrew, do you have the contact information of your marker? Maybe he needs to come here. Leo? What does it matter to him? Just thinking about him makes my physical reaction even stronger. That mere step, son of the Xing family, actually dared to play me for a fool. I'm so angry. The researchers have changed several tubes, but the fever doesn't subside. Instead, keeps rising. My vision is gradually becoming blurred, and there are a bunch of heads crowding around in front of me. Mr. Andrew, is this the person who marked you? On the screen he's holding, there is a student ID photo of a boy. Even with blurred vision, I can recognize at a glance that it's Leo. Leo, much younger than he is now, fills the whole screen with a sense of youth. I don't know where they got the information. I'm really in a lot of pain, so I can only nod. A group of people let out a sigh of relief. There is a lot of noise. This makes sense then. What a coincidence. This is probably fate. The young master has found his fated one. But we're going to be out of a job. Stop talking nonsense. Why don't you go and fetch the person right away? What a mess. I can't understand a word. I only catch one thing. Leo. He's coming. I try to clear my mind, but unfortunately, my willpower fails me. When I open my eyes again, I see the familiar ceiling. My room, my bed. Turning my head, Leo is sitting beside the bed. The back of my neck aches faintly. I raise my hand to touch it, but he holds it down. Don't touch it. I bit you. Who let you come to my house? As soon as I open my mouth, my voice is as hoarse as if I've swallowed a desert. He hands me a glass of water and thoughtfully puts a straw in it. Your institute's researchers. Remembering the jumbled things they said, I frown and warily knock the water cup away. What did you do to me? Why doesn't the pheromone from the soothing center work anymore? A look of pain flashes in Leo's eyes. Don't look at me like this. I won't hurt you. I stare at him. Wasn't it you who deliberately concealed your identity? Yes. Wasn't it you who switched my investigation report? Yes. Wasn't it you who staged that encounter in the cafeteria? Leo's lips turn pale. It was all me. I smile. Then how can I trust that a person who deliberately approached me won't hurt me? He was rendered speechless by my retort. Perhaps he felt guilty. I waved my hand. You can go. I can't leave. You need me now. I was extremely irritated. The problem had come full circle. So, what on earth did you do to me? Facing my outburst of anger, Leo didn't show much of a reaction. Instead, he posed a strange question. Andrew, don't you find my pheromones familiar? I had long felt that they were familiar. So what? There are tens of thousands of types in the center. I've used so many. It's normal to have a coincidental match. It's not a coincidence. It's inevitable. He threw off the quilt and lay right next to me while I watched in shock. I'm the original source of all the pheromones configured in the center. Along with Andrew's belated secondary gender differentiation came the news that the Jiang family couple had died in a shipwreck. During that time, the headlines in City A were filled with news about the Jiang family. Everyone was speculating about how long it would take for this powerful family to be devoured. After all, Andrew, who was known as the last hope of the Jiang family, was a useless and weak Omega. This poor Omega had also suffered from stress-induced allergies due to excessive grief. He couldn't use inhibitors and had an antagonistic reaction to alpha pheromones. He was doomed to have his gland removed and become a useless person barely surviving. Amidst these headlines, there was a small piece of news. The second in command of the Sheng family had married a divorced woman as his second wife. In this small news item, there was a small name. Leo. Leo, who was completely unremarkable in every way, decided to do a small thing. He secretly went to donate his pheromones to Andrew. The syringe was a bit thick, and Leo gritted his teeth and endured it. Logically speaking, underage alphas should not participate in such donation activities. But there was no way as there were too few volunteers. Everyone was both coveting it and worried. Worried about being entangled by that useless Andrew. And worried that extracting pheromones would have side effects on their precious alpha. No one knew who the heavens were favoring. But Leo's pheromones were effective for Andrew. Leo, who had no presence inside and out, suddenly had a small sense of accomplishment. So he was needed by others. After one time, there were two, 3 times, until the researchers of the Jiang family developed a stable and effective artificial version using his pheromones as the parent sample. Eventually, Andrew grew up safely, occasionally seeing him in a financial magazine. Leo would have subtle and inappropriate feelings, I raised him. The Omega he raised started choosing a partner. Leo didn't understand why Andrew didn't choose to marry into a family like his big brother, but instead wandered around the university. He secretly asked a few classmates who Andrew had talked to and got the answer, "Oh, that uncle with a pompadour." He came to the school to look for a gigolo. Leo had difficulty understanding. It means keeping someone as a lover, and specifically asking for someone poor and wild. I'm impressed. An Omega like him has quite a big appetite. Leo felt like the sky was falling. It was as if the flower he had carefully raised was desperately trying to get close to the cow dung. He tossed and turned all night, and finally decided to be the gigolo himself. Unexpectedly, Andrew just wanted to keep the child and get rid of the father. Leo's voice became softer and softer. I sensed something was wrong and nudged him. "What's wrong with you? Your researchers are about to drain me dry." He looked exhausted and complained in a resentful tone. "I even suspect they have a grudge against me. I thought they must be afraid that after I got Leo, they would lose their jobs. It's completely unnecessary worry, even if I don't need it. Aren't there still Big Brother and Second Elder Brother? Although Big Brother usually uses inhibitors, Second Elder Brother still visits." Leo quickly closed his eyes and responded perfunctorily. "It's a bit strange. Are you still hiding something from me?" He kept silent. I straddled him and forced him to speak. "Leo, just lay there and let me do whatever I wanted. I can't do anything to you now. Just do as you please." Leo paused, opened his eyes, and stared at me with his black eyes. Half an hour later, "I'll take it all back with interest. With your current weak state?" I mocked him. As a result, I couldn't get out of bed throughout the entire heat period. After waking up, I looked at the mess on the ground and felt a bit crazy. Why take precautions? Such a good opportunity has been wasted. If you don't want to do it, just say so. I still have time to find someone else. My number 1 on the rich list. Who do you want to replace me with? Leo's voice sounded a bit menacing. I shrank back under the covers and stubbornly mumbled, "Anyone would be better than you. 1 night would be enough. Even if I gave you 10 heat periods, you still wouldn't be up to it." He was so angry that he laughed. "I'm afraid you'll regret it. You don't like kids in the first place. What will you do when you find out the truth?" "The truth?" I immediately poked my head out. "What do you mean?" "Your grandfather came to see me and told me that the will you guys have is fake. The real will states that the inheritance will be divided equally among the 3 of you, with no one getting more or less." I was extremely shocked. After I came to my senses, I thought it was indeed something that old man would do. Also, Second Elder Brother sent someone to remove those small ads about rich women seeking sperm donors. He was afraid that I might be deceived instead. On the day Big Brother saw Leo in his office, he had a talk with him to confirm his intentions and goals. And Second Elder Brother is really pregnant. I can't win against anyone after all. But it seems that I've won a lot. Leo put his arms around me from behind and asked, "What are you thinking about?" I secretly wiped my eyes. "So annoying. I have to go to work again." Leo let out a soft laugh. "Andrew, my side business is real. If you're willing, let's work hard together. Reach the position you